Hey, what's up everybody? It's the Crypto Ginger here. Just wanted to quickly go over some more recent XRP and Ripple news. And I want to start off with this article here from ripplecoinnews.com, where we see that yet another expansion for an exchange using XRP and pairing it to their dollar. We see that Canada's CCX crypto exchange to list XRP with Canadian dollar. So again, this is something that was recently announced by CCX Exchange, where we see that the XRP will be paired to the CAD, which is again the Canadian dollar. This was actually something announced on Twitter. You're going to see a substantial amount of announcements taking place on Twitter, probably faster than you would on YouTube, just because that's how this information circulates relatively quickly there. And of course, you'll see YouTube content creators such as myself take this information and hopefully alert those who use YouTube as a means for information there and try to get this information as quickly as possible. But again, a lot of this information circulates around Twitter, so I would highly suggest going on Twitter if you're not there and look up anything revolving around XRP or the XRP community. You'll start getting updated quite frequently. This is actually coming from Panda Ripple XRP, where we can see again XRP to be listed on CCX Exchange. Here in the article it says CCX, or well-known Crypto Circle Exchange, is Canada's best cryptocurrency and asset exchange platform, and it is based off a blockchain platform. The exchange has its own native token called Circle Exchange Coin, CCX, and of course the rest of it just simply talks about how the XRP is going to be paired to the CAD, or again the Canadian dollar here. Now, I would most certainly take a look at this here. If you're someone who's watching this from Canada and you have a chance to use this exchange, please let us know in the comment section how that works and if it's successful enough for everybody else in Canada to onboard themselves with XRP. This will be a great way for mass adoption to start in countries such as Canada. A couple other things I wanted to quickly go over here. Here we have an article from dailyhodl.com, which goes over some of the topics regarding cryptocurrencies, as you can see in the title here. So it does mention about Ripple, XRP, and XRP. We'll get into that in just a second. I just thought that the very beginning of this was really interesting because the founder of Morgan Creek Digital Assets, who happens to be Anthony Papagliano, which is also a very prominent name in the crypto Twitter side of things, he's also someone who very much focuses on Bitcoin, has come out stating that we could potentially see Bitcoin drop below $3,000. Now, anytime I see information like this right here, I have to take it with a grain of salt because it could happen. At the same time, it could possibly be a sign that these people are announcing to other investors out there to keep an eye out for the price point of Bitcoin to drop below that so that they can onboard themselves into cryptocurrencies for a cheaper price. This kind of signaling happens all the time, and I think it's very interesting when we start seeing this coming from people who, again, are very prominent voices in the cryptocurrency ecosystem, just like Anthony Papagliano. Now, going into the article a little bit further for the sake of Ripple here, this talks a little bit more in depthly about Ashish Birla, who happened to have done an actual Ripple Drop episode 8 interview, and I thought that this was a very interesting interview. I actually took a look at it myself, and he goes over things we've already heard regarding XRP, what Ripple's trying to do. But one of the things I wanted to quickly point out here when it comes to what he said in this video, he says, one of the really exciting things about XRP is not only did we get the product launched technically, but we got it live in Mexico, and we got it live in the Philippines as well. We want to bring XRP to more corridors. Here's where it really gets important. He says, we're looking at what specific corridors have regulatory clarity that we need, but also solve a big pain point for our customers. So you can see that Ripple is most certainly looking at this in the right way because they understand there are regulatory clarity issues that they're still dealing with when it comes to XRP. However, with this information in mind, it is quite possible we'll start seeing more expansion in those areas that have the, again, specific corridors that have also the regulatory clarity that Ripple needs so they can get their product like XRP to go live. And hopefully this right here will be something that expands outwardly to countries such as US after the SEC has declared some sort of regulatory clarity on XRP. That right there could actually happen sometime in 2019. That would be a very good thing for, again, XRP, XRP holders, the XRP community, Ripple, the company. I mean, really, the sky's the limit at that point in time when we start hearing a little bit more in regards to regulatory clarity. On this note here, I wanted to quickly go over one more article I found very interesting when it comes to Ashish Birla. So here on CoinDesk.com, we have an article written by Ashish Birla. Again, he's a member of Ripple. And the title of this article is 2019, the year blockchain begins finance's great unbundling. Now, I won't go too in-depthly with this here. I'll let you guys take a look at this on your own. But I think the article definitely illustrates what we could potentially be seeing taking place in the year of 2019, especially considering that during this bear market of 2018, we saw a lot of companies such as Ripple taking their money and putting it back into the development of their company, their reach to other banks and institutions out there when it comes to getting their product into the banks and institutional investors' hands so that they can start taking advantage of things such as Xcurrent and XRapid and even XVIA. And we also see that there's been the expansion of exchanges taking on having XRP as a base pair for other cryptocurrencies or even the fiat currencies. So a lot of developments happening here. Something I found very interesting in regards to this article, Ashish Birla states here that blockchain has already started to level the playing field by disrupting correspondent banking and democratizing payments. In 2019, blockchain will start to move beyond payments and will begin to unbundle securities, loans, and other derivative financial products. Companies like Securitize, Dharma, Dydex, Compound Finance, and The Ocean are all interesting companies working on the next phase of decentralized finance. So it looks like that's where we're going to be going into, is this decentralized finance topic in 2019. He goes to state here that over the last several years, mobile app companies like Grab, Gojek, and Payment have expanded their offerings to include payments, investments, remittances, loans, and insurance. They are rapidly capturing newly banked customers as many Asian economies move from cash to digital. We've heard definitely that the Asian side of the demographic has really gone through the process of trying to make it a cashless society there. So we can easily see that this right here is going to be a strong push for places like, again, the Asian market. So take that in consideration. Something else I thought was very interesting here. Ashish Birla makes this little comparison to what's happening right now with cryptocurrencies and the technology behind it to that of Netflix. He says, just like the early internet, use cases have to match where the technology is in its development stage. For example, Netflix wouldn't have been successful streaming TV shows in the year 2000 when fewer than 1% of people had access to broadband. In the last few years, it's become clear that payments are the one use case where blockchain works today. So as you can see here with this comparison, like it says, Netflix would not have been successful in the early 2000s because not many people had broadband availability there. So to go in and try to make a success out of your company there when you have a limitation like that, you're not going to find that kind of success. And Ripple's in that same kind of predicament right now, especially when there's a regulatory clarity issue on the XRP coin. So right now we're in a waiting stage, and this waiting stage is going to allow for a lot of development to start taking place. And I would imagine that in the next couple of years we're going to start seeing a significant amount of countries onboarding themselves with Ripple's products, and of course onboarding themselves to have XRP as a way for people to onboard themselves into cryptocurrencies in general, so making more base pairs with XRP.